He says, تَفُتُّ فُؤَادُكَ الْأَيَّامُ فَتَّى. As days goes on and time moves on, your heart starts to die. It starts to crumble away. وَتَنْحِتُ جِسْمَكَ السَّاعَةُ نَحْتًا. And he says that your body starts to corrode. So every day as time goes on, your heart dies and your body is dying. وَتَدْعُ الْمَنُونَ دُعَاءَ صِدِقٍ. And death is calling you a true calling. And it says to you, أَلَا يَا صَاحِ أَنْتَ أُرِيدُ أَنْتَ. It says to you, for example, you, brother, you, I'm talking to you. Or is it the person behind you? Do you know? Usually when you point at someone, they say, oh, like he's calling you. Death saying, I want you. The person's like, no, he's talking about you. No, Death saying, I want you, I'm after you. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers and sisters, I just want to do a little ta'liq on Abu Bakr's statement that he sees me around. I don't know where he sees me around. I just wanted to clarify that, inshallah. So my talk that I've been given is the fitna of social media, but personally, wallahi, preparing for it is too much. So I think the best conclusion that I brought it to, because a person might say it's not fitna to me, it actually aids me and helps me in my religion. So the best way it could be worded is what role does social media play in your life? And the conclusion is up to you whether it's a fitna or it's something that aids you in your life. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. That Allah has not created jinn and mankind except for worship. So our only purpose and the only reason we were created for was for worship, and not to 9 to 5, not for a degree, not for marriage, not for any of these sub-branches, but rather it's for worship. But all of those things that I did mention can come under worship and do come under worship. For example, if a person does come with that right intention, for example, to get the degree in halal means, we're not talking about through the means of whatever's been discussed previously, but he works for it, pays for it, or gets sponsored by it, and he gets the degree, and his intention is basically to migrate to a Muslim land, or for that he wants to get a better job, to build a masjid, or to help his community. From this, the person is falling under ibadah. So what is the definition of ibadah then? Ibadah, as the scholars have defined, is a comprehensive word which includes all that Allah loves and is pleased with, both inward and outward actions. For example, anything that you do, ask yourself, is Allah pleased with what I'm doing? Will Allah love what I'm doing? If I'm going to work, is Allah going to be pleased with what I'm doing? For example, the work I'm working at is halal job. Is Allah going to be pleased with what I'm doing? For example, the money that I make, I'm not spending it recklessly, but rather I'm helping my mother or father, help them pay the bills, pay off my debts or whatever it may be. Is that something Allah will love? Of course it's something Allah will love. Then it falls under ibadah. Anything that you do, for example, me working out, would that fall under ibadah? If I want to get healthy, it will fall under ibadah. So instead of giving you things that to tell you this is ibadah and whatnot, for example, everyone knows the salah, hajj, all of these actions, going to umrah, are ibadah, but other things that are worldly things. For example, eating can fall under ibadah. Sleeping can fall under ibadah, as Mu'ad radiallahu anhu said, who was the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, I seek reward in my sleep just like I seek reward in standing up at the night prayer. Because his intention for sleeping is to stand up for the night prayer. So if what you're doing, you're bringing a good intention with it, then you're seeking reward in it. So you fall under ibadah. So our life literally is ibadah. We have the 5 daily salawat that we pray. So our life consists of ibadah. So saying that, what role does social media play in your life? Does it fall under ibadah? Does it help you and aid you in getting closer to Allah? That's what I want you to consistently ask yourself as I'm talking about it, because there's certain things that I will bring that come with social media that I will mention. So as you yourself, just ask yourself, because I'm not one to judge, it's up to you lot. Like I said, a person might say, me following scholars, mashayikh, is helping me, reminding me. The fact you guys came to the event was through social media. So there is good in it, no doubt about that. So there are 2 pillars regarding ibadah, which is kamal al-hub and kamal al-dhul. That the person comes with complete love and complete humiliation. That the person, he's loving Allah as he's doing the action and he's humiliating himself. For example, when we pray the salah, the most sacred part of our body is our face. and we're putting it on the lowest part, which is the floor. So we're humiliating ourselves for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now those two pillars, if you find it in anything else other than Allah, then that is considered ibadah for other than Allah, which falls under shirk. For example, if a person has a boyfriend or has a girlfriend and he is going out of his way, disobeying Allah to please that person, and daily, every day and night, this person is on their mind, and he's going out of their way, and he's disobeying Allah, disobeying his parents, and disobeying his family, then that considered, you're humiliating yourself for that person. You're going out your way. You're disobeying your whole family. You're telling you, stop what you're doing. Your friends who are telling you, stop what you're doing. And then you're disobeying Allah on top of that, just for this person, then that will be considered ibadah. So ibadah, my brothers and sisters, as I mentioned, those two pillars, just look out for that in anything that you do. So our life, as I mentioned, is all about ibadah. If that's the case, then our time is very limited on this earth. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that said, my ummah will reach up to 60 and 70 and little will go over it. Little will go over it. If that's the case, and most of us, let's just say the youngest is 10 and the oldest maybe is 23. So we got about taqriban we're coming up to close to half, nearly all of us. So half of our life goes. And they say 8 hours of sleep daily is recommended for a person. Add all of that up, then you're eating, how many hours go in that? And then, so you're sleeping, eating, then you're walking, you're traveling, hours are going by. So if your life is basically time, as Hassan al-Basri said, that the lifespan of a human being is time. So if time is going, that means our life is going. Then what role does social media play? Because how much do we really waste on social media, brothers and sisters? I don't think you really know how much time you waste. They're very smart in the way they're advertising. Wallahi, I give it to them. I give thumbs up to them. Because there was an app that came out. It was called Vines. I don't know if you guys remember it. Wallahi, a'udhu billah. Vines, when Vines came out, it's a 7-second clip video. 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't worry, nothing happens at the end. I'm just counting. 7 seconds gone. So 7 seconds has gone like that. But people are wasting hours on it. Hours. Wallahi. Me personally, I remember an hour went by. How did an hour go on 7 seconds? Wallahi, brothers and sisters, they're very smart. So they make it small, but that small thing becomes something big. That's why the Prophet told us that the best action is that which is done small, but it's consistent. Not what is done big, because you can do it one time and then you won't do it again. But that which is small and is consistent, it will continue. So this app they made, 7 seconds. 7 seconds went to an hour, went to an hour, 2 hours. So people waste time on there. Now there's a way for you to actually know how much time you use, and it's not for you to expose yourself. Whoever's got an iPhone, if you got an iPhone, if you go to your settings, if everyone can, whoever's got a Samsung, the exits that way, no problem. No, I'm joking. But if you bring out your iPhone and you go to your settings and then you click on battery, as it loads, there should be something like that, right? So it says last 24 hours. There's like a time button right there. If you click that time button, it tells you within the last 24 hours how much hours or how much minutes you spent on the screen. And then it has the option for the next last 7 days. If everyone can click the last 7 days, and just ask for you to reflect. I'm not going to ask everyone to put their hand up who spent 5 hours on Instagram or who spent 20 hours. It's for you just to realize how much time is really being spent of your life. This is your life. You're committing suicide in the means. You're killing your time, which is essentially your life. So if you check it, each app, it will say how much time you spent on the screen. Does anyone want to put a hand up who spent more than 5 hours? If you want. No, I'm talking week. No, week. On Instagram. No, you don't have to if you want it. Well, Allahu Akbar. Okay. So sure, you might have been doing something good. Allahu A'lam. I'm just saying, you might have been doing something good. You might have been watching something good. But it just shows you that time is going like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swore by time. Allah said, A'udhu billahi min ash-shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wal asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bil sabr. Allah swore by time. Allah says by time. Innal insana lafi khusr. Mankind is at loss. Everyone is in a state of loss and confusion. Except illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat. except those who believe and do righteous actions. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. And they call each other to it, and they have patience upon that. And from that, Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, he brought those 4 points from that surah, that is upon every person is to know who Allah is and His Messenger, and from that is to act upon it, and from that is to call to it and be patient upon that. So from Allah swore by time, brothers and sisters. So it shows you the importance of time. So our time is already slipping daily when we're eating, when we're sleeping, when we're talking to our families, when we're going out daily. So social media is taking more time away, which we can't really give away. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu also mentions the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, take 5 before 5, and from one of those 5 is your life before your death, and your free time before you become busy. Everyone may be free now, but everyone knows there's always a time when you think to yourself, I wish I had free time to do whatever you wanted to do at that moment. But really and truly, do you have free time? You might do, but from the hours you spent on the app, you yourself know what time now you can give up, because it's being wasted in a place that it could be taken away from and be put in there. Everyone says I'm busy, but really and truly you can make time. That's what I'm saying. And also your life before your death. Like I said, I just want to emphasize that time is our life, brothers and sisters. As time goes, we are dying. And as time's moving on, then time is something that you can never get back. A person may be stingy with his wealth and not give it out, but he'll sit with you and waste time with you. That's a dumb person, because the money you can get back, but time you can never get back. So that person is better off giving that money and saving your time. I just want to read a few lines of poetry by the Shaykh Abu Ishaq al-Biri rahimahullah, who wrote these lines of poetry to a friend, or they say a person who criticized him. He criticized him and said some stuff about him. So he wrote, I think it's 135 lines. So he starts off the lines of poetry by saying, تفت فؤادك الأيام فتى وتنحت جسمك الساعة نحتا وتدعوك منون دعاء صدق ألا يا صاحي أنت أريد أنت أراك تحب عرسا ذات خدر أبت تلاقى هل أكياس بتا. He says, تفت فؤادك الأيام فتى. As days goes on and time moves on, your heart starts to die. It starts to crumble away. وتنحت جسمك الساعة نحتا. And he says that your body starts to corrode. So every day as time goes on, your heart dies and your body is dying. وتدعو المنون دعاء صدق. And death is calling you a true calling. And it says to you, ألا يا صاحي أنت أريد أنت. It says to you, for example, you, brother, I'm talking to you. Or is it the person behind you? Do you know? Usually when you point at someone, they say, oh, like he's calling you. Death saying, I want you. The person's like, no, he's talking about you. No, Death saying, I want you, I'm after you. He says, and the author says, أراك تحب عرسا ذات خدر. He says, I see that you love her. ذات خدر is a woman, a rare woman that never comes out in society, that's hard to find, that the Arabs used to love. So he says, I see you want this rare thing that everyone's chasing after, and it's very hard to find. And social media, that's what it is, really and truly. These lines of poetry kind of sum it up. Is that everyone, what they post is only the good side of their life. No one posts the days when they're crying, when they're upset, when someone dies, when they lose a job. No one posts that time when they're really down, when they wake up, and their hair's scruffy, they got the crust in their eyes, they got white stuff around their mouth. No one ain't posting that. They take the time out, wash their face, make themselves look good, they post it. To the extent there are people who save up photos just to post it, to show that they are doing things. Like they're on holiday, they'll store up photos, and then they'll schedule it out weekly just to post it. That's the extent it's got to. So that if social media is a place where you only portray the good, every time you go in there, aren't you going to be depressed? Aren't you going to be chasing something that's not really realistic, because you're not getting the whole picture? And that's another aspect of those that the people follow. That's another thing. The person you're following, he only shows that which is good. So you never see when he's really down, or when he's really looking bad, and he's got time to edit his photos, or she's got time to edit her photos. You only see the good side. And then from that, a person thinks, I know this person, like they have a connection with them. But really and truly, the person's really just showing you what they want to know. If you ask their parents, this person's completely opposite, if you want to know. So, and he says, so he says that the people are chasing a rare woman like that. And he says, أَبَتَّ تَلَاقَهَا الْأَكْيَاسُ بَتَّ. The smart people, the akyas, the people who are smart, they've given her divorce, a divorce which you can never come back from. For example, if you divorce once, you have the opportunity to get back with the person. But they've given them a divorce where there's no return except for that person to go and get married, have intimacy with that person, and then once they get divorced, I'm not talking about the halala thing, this recent thing that came out where they pay someone to actually do that stuff. Naturally happens, the person gets married, they have intimacy with that person, then they get divorced, then you can marry them. So he says the smart people have divorced that woman like that, they've given up hope on her. And it also, they say the woman here refers to the dunya, that's what the dunya is like. Everyone chasing it, but no one can really attain it. So social media, brothers and sisters, I believe that's what it seems like, majority, what it's become today. Like I said though, there is that possibility of it being good. But at the same time, everyone knows themselves. That's what I said. It's not for me to judge you. It's for you today to reflect, look how many hours you've wasted, and ask yourself, because most of you probably have the Quran app on there. Compare how much of the Quran app you use compared to the social media. And it's up to you, brothers and sisters, to realize, is it aiding you in getting closer to Allah and helping you in ibadah, what we was created for, or is it taking you away from it, or is it furthering you away from it? That's all I'm saying. It's up to you. It's up to you. There's another thing that social media brings, besides heedlessness, which I mentioned, but I'll repeat again. Heedlessness is something that it brings. Brothers and sisters, someone who's heedless, being heedless, Ibn Qayyim mentions that, someone who's heedlessness plus your desires gives birth to sins. So when a person becomes heedless and he's alone on his phone and he forgets that Allah is watching him, then his desires start to kick in. Then what's going to hold him back? From that is where sins come. When a person forgets that Allah knows and He's aware and He's with them with His knowledge, and what they do, Allah can see them. When the person forgets that, then what's to stop the person? That's what knowledge is there to tame your soul, to put it in check when it wants to wild out, to put it back and down. Allah's aware. Allah knows what I'm doing. Allah knows what I'm about to type right now. But social media, because you follow this person, you waste time on. We waste time on there, because I'll throw myself in there as well. We waste time in there, and then it leads to a person to forget Allah is aware of him, and then from that, things happen. A person may like someone's page, a person might send someone a message, just asking how they're doing. It all starts off innocent. So a person, it leads to heedlessness. Another thing that social media brings is a person being amazed with themselves. A person, because if you only post the good things in your life, when you go back, because everyone does scroll through their timeline, you're like, wow, man, I said some deep stuff, man. A wise man once said, yeah, Abu Bakr, is it? Yeah? A wise man once said. So you scroll down and you start thinking, subhanAllah, you know what? Wow, man, that's powerful. But another thing that you don't realize, the quotes that you post, if everyone implemented those posts or those quotes that they take, wouldn't their life change? Wouldn't it become a better? Those posts, if you just took 5 of those, or if you just took all the posts that you posted, which had quotes, you could make a book from it. As our teacher always says, that the quotes we always write down, we can make a book from it. Yeah. So a person becomes amazed with himself. He starts posting up the clothes that he wears, to the extent, when a person becomes amazed with himself, he starts to look down on others. Brother, how you doing, man? How many followers do you got? Oh, you got 300. Oh, okay. Oh, right. And then the person, obviously, he wants him to ask, how many followers do you got? Oh, no, it's not. It's a little one. I got 10,000. It's little. Oh, you want me to give you a shout out? Do you want me to post it for you? Oh, I'll give you a post. Let me help you. Yeah? If the person becomes amazed with him, like he owns something, and he starts to look down on others and belittle his Muslim brother, like he's better than them. But really and truly, the person who you might not know, this person may look like he's not wearing the best of clothes, and he may look like he's really low in society, may not have the best of jobs, but in the eyes of Allah, he is the best person, and whatever he asks for gets accepted. So on social media, a person, just because he's got followers, it gives them recognition. Oh, subhanAllah, you know what, BBC, they used my post, I posted something, they took that from me, and because even news use it as a reference now. That's the sad thing, and it's not even verified, which is another thing which leads me on to, is that news is spread on this, very unverified news. Allah tells us, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا. O you who believe, if news comes to you from a fasiq, فَتَبَيَّنُوا, verify it. So we just take anything, subhanAllah, start spreading, it becomes a hashtag. It becomes a hashtag, you start clicking it. You know, there was a recent incident now, the issue of the boxer. Everyone knows the boxer and his wife splitting through divorce. She said he went to another boxer. The boxer himself said, listen, I'm free from that. You're throwing my name in there, but I'm free from all of this. But people are already spreading it. So that's what social media causes. Another thing that it causes is between the husband and wife. Issues. The person wastes time on there, he spends time on there. He's more active on social media, more, how can you say it? He's like two different people. That's what it brings, two-faced. He's so active, but in reality, this person is the most quietest person. But as soon as the camera on, he starts shouting his mouth. So it creates that thing where it's split personality. It gets in between the husband and the wife. The time they sit together, they should be talking to each other. They're spending it on Facebook to the extent the brother's upstairs. I fall into this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm upstairs, my brother's downstairs. I just message him on WhatsApp. I fall into it. I put myself in there. But the person's in the same house, but you're communicating through outside means, where really and truly you can go downstairs. So that's what it's another thing that it creates. Lastly, I wanted to end, because I've got about 4 minutes, is the issue of joking. There's a lot of joking and mocking on there. To the extent, mocking of the deen and mocking of the religion of Allah. As the brother mentioned earlier, I came in, alhamdulillah, Abu Taymiyyah. He mentioned the issue of the sisters when they mock them, and the issue of niqab and say these kind of things. Or the brother with the beard, you know, what do you call it? What's this famous line? They always say, rapper dingy duggy? What's it called? Rubber dingy rapid, from that thing. So, it's from a movie, 4 Lines, that famous quote became. So they take these things and they start mocking the person. Oh, he grew his beard. Oh, the sheikh's in town, man, subhanAllah. Oh, big man with the beard. Stuff like that. Or he's got his trousers above his ankle. Or Michael Jackson's entered the room. Things like that. The person's mocking the deen. He's mocking the religion of Allah. And this is the things that could take a person outside of the religion. Allah mentions Surah Tawbah, the munafiqeen who were mocking the companions and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah revealed a verse that basically they were like, oh, we were only joking and playing. You were joking about Allah and His Messenger. They say that's what if the person you tell, you're joking about the deen. I'm only joking and playing. Stuff like that can take a person out of the religion. Another thing is that the person, he mocks a person to make a joke. For example, what was it again? No, I won't mention now. Shall I mention it? The issue of the pants. Oh no, okay. There was an issue that there was a brother. Basically, there was someone. There was a video that was made of the brother doing something, and then the brother was like, "Oh, I'm gonna post it." It was doing something foolish, but it was in his private, basically amongst brothers. And the brother, I'm gonna post it, and then it was mocking the person. A joke is something that everyone can laugh, not to mock a specific person and start cussing the person out. Which Somalis are very good at. They start picking your defaults. Oh, this guy's short guy. This guy's a tall guy. This guy's the guy with the one leg. This guy. They pick your defaults and give you that name. This guy. And to the extent I saw a video, there was a Chinese man, Asian man in America. He was with some Somali. He said, give me a nickname. And then they were like, no, you're not ready for it. He said, no, give it. Then the guy goes, India, which means small eyes. So they pick your default and mock you for it. That's not a joke, brothers and sisters. So I just want to wrap up with some conditions for joking. So first of all, it cannot be that of mocking of Islam. Secondly, the joke should be truthful. A person can't lie in a joke. For example, there was something I saw. A person, he said, one time I was in Tesco's. This is a lie. He said, I was in Tesco. Do you know how I was lying? He said, I saw Dr. Zakir Naik in Tesco. Zakir Naik is not even allowed in the UK. So he said, I was in Tesco and I saw Dr. Zakir Naik in Tesco. I said to Sheikh, basically, I wanted to go find the aisle for bread. He said, aisle number 2, shelf number. Because the Sheikh's very good at bringing up, verses and giving the reference to it. So he's mocking it. And he lied because the Sheikh was never there. So a person shouldn't lie in his jokes. He should be telling the truth. The person, so no lies. I've got a minute left. The third one is not scaring people. A lot of people, what they do is they tag a person in a video which has got something scary in it. They're like, brother, check this out. This is emotional. The brother checks it. It's a green tree or something like that. And something scary pops up. Or he goes, the person's sleeping, he's recording him, and he starts screaming and trying to scare the person. Or he's hiding around the corner, he's got it, and then to scare a person is not it's not allowed to do, as the Prophet ﷺ prohibited. The fourth one, as I mentioned, is mocking people. And Allah mentions also in the Quran that a person shouldn't, the believers, they shouldn't call each other by names that the person doesn't like to be called by. And the person you're insulting, like I said, he may be better in the eyes of Allah than you. And the fifth one is not being excessive. I'll conclude this one, is not being excessive in your joking. It's good to joke in a permissible manner without these, what I mentioned, points not being present. So it's truthful, it's not scaring anyone, it's not mocking anyone, and it's not mocking, it's not mocking, not scaring. I've got to wrap it up here. This is the last point. Yeah, this is the last one. So you shouldn't be excessive. If a person becomes, and excessiveness in anything is not good. A person, if he's excessive in joking, and he just becomes a joker, this person will never be taken serious. What the person, he's like, brothers, man, my mom's hospital. Brother, I'm being serious. Because they don't know if he's joking. He jokes so much. The person's telling the truth. So those 5 conditions, as I mentioned. So what I want to conclude with is, what role is social media playing in your life? Is it aiding you to get closer to Allah and helping you fulfill your purpose, which was for ibadah? Or is it distancing you? It's up to you. Everyone knows themselves. And I just conclude there. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.